Well, how much money would it take for you to be marooned on an island? We'll be talking about that today, and we'll be talking about Foodstock. If you lived in the Clarion area, if you live in the Clarion area, I'm sure you've heard of it. Sue Leonard, who is in charge of that project, will be joining us tonight on Feedback. Good evening, I'm Mark Despotakis, and welcome to tonight's edition of Feedback. As I said, coming up later in the show, we're going to have Sue Leonard, who is in charge of the Foodstock project, which I'm sure you couldn't have missed during this year's Autumn Leaf Festival. We'll be talking about that. But first, as always in my first segment, I'm telling you about something I read in the newspapers. And this is, usually I try to get something that I saw like yesterday or today in the paper. Well, this struck me late last week, or Thursday, I think this was out of Thursday's USA Today, and I just found it so amazing. I thought I had to come on here and talk about this. The headline in the USA Today read, CBS to maroon 16 potential millionaires on aisle. Well, basically what they're doing, producers last Thursday began seeking 16 contestants from around the country, and these people will be flown to Borneo in the spring and marooned there for 39 days. Sounds like a dream vacation to me, especially when you hear what's on the island. The contestants will be followed constantly by 10 cameras and joined by indigenous species, including a 6-foot monitor lizards and wild macaws, which tend to steal food. Sounds like fun. But the reason behind all of this, apparently, is that you can win $1 million. It sort of goes along the lines with the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing that was on ABC. Well, CBS is now trying to pick it up on this, but trying to bring a lot of other things into it. So by the time I got to this point in the article, I thought, this seems silly. Like, would I do it? I don't know, but it just seems kind of silly, a big ratings stunt to me. But then I read on and I found something that was really interesting. Survivor is going to be the name of the show. Is a less physical endurance contest than a sociological experiment. So this is where I started to get intrigued. What's going to happen is at the end of each episode, which is going to be an hour long, the group will hold what they're going to call tribal councils. And they're going to vote to expel one member of the group. As I said, there's 16 members, and they'll vote to expel one member. So that person's going to be flown off the island, which I think would be the better thing. I don't know if I'd really want to go. But this process of humiliation, as USA Today puts it, will go on until 2 remain on the island. So they'll get 14 out of there, and there'll be 2 people remaining. Then everyone who was previously thrown off the island will vote on which of those 2 will get the $1 million. So it sort of all works together, because if you vote to get somebody off the island, because that's how they're going to be doing it, the 16 members of the tribal council will vote to remove someone, well, then those people are going to be voting on which one of you get the money. So they were talking in the article that it's possible that maybe the money will be split up. Maybe they'll have an agreement that we'll all split it. It's going to be a lot about teamwork. So it should be a really interesting show, even though when I first read it, I thought, gee, this is kind of a little strange. It's really a ratings stunt. And maybe it is, but I also read that I believe they are going to be coming to Pittsburgh. So if you really want to do this, you can go to Pittsburgh and apply for this. I do believe they are going to be doing it in Pittsburgh. It says applications will be available at cbs.com. You can do that. You must be a U.S. citizen and a resident and at least 21 years old, and I guess willing to have a pretty good sense of adventure. So this is one of those shows following along the lines of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis Philbin. But 10 cameras are going to be on the island following them around. So, I mean, if nothing else, it'll be interesting just to see how they live on the island. So just thought I'd pass that along to you. Look for that coming up in the spring. What we'll do now is we're going to take a break, and when we come back, Sue Leonard from Foodstock will be joining us.
Young children cannot stand on their own. Uniting parents and children is an important part of the life of a community. Stand for Children encourages people to make a personal commitment to stand for the health of children. 300,000 Americans marched in Washington, D.C. last June to support Stand for Children Day. Stand for Children seeks to lift the belief that children need our help to stand.
It's my birthday. I'm the man. It's my birthday.
Exercised lately?
Go for the fun. Go for cakes for everyone. Just one stack is what it takes, and it's go for cakes. Open wide, stuff your face. There's always room for more Gopher cakes. Empty the box, then reload. Eat those Gopher cakes till you explode.
Exercised lately?
Till you explode.
Sad, looking back now, the things you go through in life. Scary. The worst thing about being on welfare was it's what they really wanted. I had to get a better life for my girls and myself. I got off welfare. I got a good job. Makes me the happiest mother in the world. I live for my girls.
We're not asking you to hire everyone on welfare, just one.
Welcome back to Foodstock. In just a minute, we're going to be talking to Sue Leonard, who was the chairman of Foodstock. Here, we're going to be doing that tonight here on Feedback. But first, what we want to do is show you a story that I did last week during the Autumn Leaf Festival, or was that 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago. During the Autumn Leaf Festival, just as sort of a recap of the festival. Take a look. The 46th Annual Autumn Leaf Festival kicked off this past weekend with its usual wide variety of foods and activities. You can still find your favorite events that return each year, but there are also some new things to check out, especially Foodstock, which benefits Clarion County food banks.
Starts at 5 o'clock Thursday and continues on a 24-hour marathon until 5 o'clock on Friday. So we're urging everybody who comes into town to bring at least one non-perishable food item to Foodstock 99 because it's a great benefit.
Well, the rain did arrive late this afternoon, but that didn't put a dampering on any of the festival's events.
Pretty ominous right now. Yeah, we've really lucked out so far, though, because they were calling for rain earlier in the week, and it's been passing us. And actually, I just spoke with the Weather Center, and they said that it's actually going a little bit north of us. So maybe we'll just catch the tail end, and it'll rain tonight, get it all out of the way, and the rest of the week looks really good.
Once the rain did stop this afternoon, people came out to enjoy all that Autumn Leaf has to offer.
Here for lunch today.
The rain couldn't hold you back.
No.
So what are you going to have for lunch today?
Wings today.
Wings.
Yeah.
That's a favorite of everyone.
Yeah, I work the hot dog cart at St. Joe's.
Oh,
St.
okay.
Joe's school. I'll be working that on the parade day. Oh.
But visitors aren't the only ones who get caught up in the action of ALF. The food vendors have fun too.
And I like the parade. That's my favorite. That's our busiest time, but that's my favorite.
For most residents and students in Clarion, ALF Week is a tradition that can't come soon enough each year. How many years have you been coming here?
4.
Is this your last one then?
Yeah, it's my last one.
So is it kind of nostalgic now for you?
Yeah, it's just, I live right there, so it's like my front yard.
You come to the parade?
Oh, you come to everything when you live in Clarion, and it's ALF Week.
So I'm sure all of you did get a chance to go down and visit the Autumn Leaf Festival, and that, once again, that story was from during the festival. And I should say, everyone ridiculed me while that was running. This is feedback. I said welcome back to Foodstock. I meant welcome back to feedback. All these F words, I'm just getting confused. But the woman you hear laughing in the background, Sue Leonard, you were the director of Foodstock 99?
Chairwoman.
Chairwoman,
Yes.
all right. Why don't you give us a brief overview for anyone out there who may not even known what this was?
Oh, I can't imagine anybody not knowing what Foodstock 99 entailed. It was the brainstorm of Karen Pope and Tracy Becker at the chamber office on their escapades around to all their businesses and meetings and things and conferences they go to. They brainstorm, and they came up with this idea of trying to set a world record for gathering the largest amount of non-perishable food within a 24-hour period. So they contacted Guinness, and it took forever and ever because Guinness kept saying their computers were down and on and on. And it was like every day we're calling Guinness, calling London, calling Guinness, all this on and on to remind them that, yes, this time is coming up. We have set the date. We've set the 24 hours. We want to do this. Well, initially they did send a form giving us guidelines of what to do, what to follow. Finally, the week prior to the festival week, we got a phone call from Guinness, and they gave up. They said that there must not be a record. There must not have been an attempt to set a record or anything like that. So whatever food we collected, we got to set the record, which was kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It was. It's like, oh my, is it going to be enough? We want to really push and make it high so it would be hard for someone else to break the record and so on. But I tell you, the organization was just amazing, just amazing. We had several subcommittees. I was the committee chairperson. We had several subcommittees of local people. We covered the schools, we covered the businesses, we covered the churches, we covered the organizations, and we tried to reach out into the whole county, to network that way, so that we could reach everybody and have them contribute to this.
How did you get involved in all of this?
Well, Karen and I have known each other for a long time, and they were saying, gee, we really want to do this. Who can we get that isn't involved in something right now and can do this? And they're going, oh, Sue, yes, Sue can do this. So I tried, but like I said, it was a lot of support from the group, from the committees, from the town, from the university. Wonderful support from the university.
And you mentioned that you had to network out through the county. Now, how did you go about doing that? Because let me just, maybe a point of clarification. The record was only for donations accepted in one 24-hour period.
Right. We could collect food ahead of time, or food could be collected ahead of time. It just had to be assembled in one area over a 24-hour period.
Oh, okay. So how did the whole networking process go? Where's like your farthest donor out from? What was that all entail?
Oh, well, actually, when they brought the food in, we asked them to log in. Give us a name, an address, how many items. That's how we kept a running total of how many items was distributed. Then it was counted before it was boxed, and then the boxes were labeled, and it was counted again, and on and on. We had people coming, I remember, from Marionville. We had people a lady came up from from New Bethlehem. And we were trying to keep individuals separate from groups. And I asked her, I said, what group is this? And she said, well, it was just a bunch of us got together and did this. She said, I'll just write New Bethlehem. And that's what she did. There was also a man that was visiting his family here from Philadelphia. And he brought food up. Because I noticed the Philadelphia address.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is great. This is really great.
Now, where I know you said Karen and the chamber people came up with this. Where did they get the idea from? Where did the name come from? How did this all just blossom?
This being the 30th anniversary of Woodstock, and I don't know if you know about in Pittsburgh with Porky Chedwick and so forth, the daddy-o of the radio, at least that's what I was told he was called and so forth, but they had a pork stock festival down there with all the oldies and everything. So it's kind of a takeoff of the Woodstock and the tie-dye theme and so forth like that, and bringing everybody together.
Okay, we saw barrels everywhere.
Yes.
Why don't you explain, how did that all work? How did that all fit together?
Well, we were trying to make it easy for people to donate food, the non-perishable canned items. Although not everything was canned. We got bags of marshmallows. We got cereal. We got, you name it, we got it. But it was wonderful. Everything counted. But the barrels, we were trying to make it easy for to everybody to have access to them. Unfortunately, in the banks and some of the restaurants too, and some of the grocery stores, people would just put their waste paper products, paper in there, and say, oh, your cash register receipt, or this and that and so forth. As a matter of fact, I know one restaurant that a lady actually went over and scraped chicken wing bones off of her plate into the barrel.
Oh my gosh.
And these barrels were all labeled, and there were signs and everything, but just people didn't pay attention. But
you
that
still got a good turnout, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, that was taken out and the barrel was filled with food.
let's maybe talk logistics of the 24 hours. What was
Okay.
that like from start to finish?
Well, we said it was going to be organized chaos, and that's exactly
There
what it
really
was. We had an outline, a plan of what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do it, and we figured that most of the food would be contributed by the schools, only because of the fact that there are so many schools and so many school children, and the schools did a wonderful job. So we scheduled them to come in on Thursday evening first and bring the food. And then the churches, we figured the next would come from the churches, and then the businesses and so forth like that. We had one business that actually brought in 1,817 items, which was fantastic.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, I heard that you told your employees to bring in 10 items. And he says, no, no, no. He said, I told them for every 10 items they brought, they would get a raffle ticket. And that raffle ticket was for a gun. That afternoon, they were raffling off a gun just for these people that had contributed food. And they had 1,817 items. That's something you don't forget.
Right, right. In the 24 hours, I just sort of came
how
up,
did we do that?
Yeah, like, I mean, I just, still mind-boggling.
Well, it was kind of hard because everybody kept saying, where are you going to be? Well, at 5th and Main. 5th and Main, and since that is a highway through there that we can't really close off too long, it is closed of an evening, part of it for the carnival, so we took advantage of that on Thursday evening. And then when that had to open up, we moved over to the sidewalk on the other side of the street. But then the next morning, being Farmers and Craft Day, the streets closed very early, and we moved back out into the street.
Okay,
So
okay, yeah. No, we're going to talk more about this.
Okay.
There's a lot to talk about. We're going to take a break, and more about Foodstock 99 after this.
Introducing new frequent phone hours.
Use the phone just 8 hours a week and get this free phone cradle. Use it 12 hours and get a speakerphone.
Use it 15 hours and get this cool headset.
Or stay on the phone 20 hours a week
And get a pasty complexion.
flabby body, and a great new nickname at school.
Exercised lately?
I like all my friends to be there. I want my mother to be there. My hair's gonna be done so beautiful. A lot of music, a nice blue dress. I want to be beautiful for every single person that goes there. If I got shot, I want to have a nice funeral.
Every day, 10 children are killed by gunfire. Help stop the violence. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT for free information. Not one more lost life. Not one more grieving family. Not one more.
It's not just about making plans. It's about making a difference. And taking an interest, not just earning it. And more than investing, it's about knowing you.
My every hope, my life, my world, it all begins with a dream.
Edward Jones, investing in you and your dreams.
In Clarion, see Gary Martin, located on Main Street. Phone 226-7896.
And we're back on Feedback, talking with Sue Leonard, the chairwoman of Foodstock 99. Yes. All right, before the break, we were talking about the 24-hour time period.
Right.
How about volunteers in that time period? How was that logistically during that time with all the people? I'm sure you had a mass number of people there.
Yes, but it was wonderful. We had tried to line up the most volunteers at the very beginning at 5 o'clock on Thursday evening. And as it turned out, that we definitely needed them. Even though everybody got the same instructions and asked directions on how to prepare the food and count it and box it and so forth, not everyone followed that, but we still got the food. So therefore we had to have the volunteers to sort it by type of food, and then to count it and to log it and box it and so forth. Keystone Smiles, they organized the majority of the volunteers, which was wonderful. Then in Diana Anderson here on campus, she organized through the night, which was fantastic, and even had students there the next day. Fraternities and sororities were fantastic. Absolutely. We couldn't have done it throughout the night without them.
Okay. Now we've been talking, I mean, obviously this is not the main focus of why you're doing it, but the world record.
Right.
I mean, obviously it was the main goal was to help out the food banks, but let's talk about the world record. Who thought of doing it as a world record, and how did that whole process go?
Well, that was part of Karen and Tracy's conversation, really. I'm not sure which one actually said, let's contact Guinness. But Guinness was contacted, and the category is the largest charity food drive in a 24-hour period. And it has to in one place, assembled in one place. Guinness gave guidelines. Everything had to be documented. Everything that's in the newspaper, all sorts of pictures. We did videos. And we had to have accountants there to verify the count and the total and so forth. Now, after the fact, it's going to take a while before we actually have everything ready to present to Guinness, because we have to, if anybody has pictures, please take them to the chamber office, because this will only help verify that yes, we did this and how we did it.
I've seen these Guinness shows like on TV, and I've seen other things on other talk shows, and I always see that they have to have a Guinness representative there. Was there one here? Was that required or no?
Well, no. They said no, that they were just too busy and they didn't have enough representatives available, so they couldn't really send anyone down. That's why they gave us the guidelines.
Were you competing against anyone in this category?
Not that we know of. As far as we know, we came up with the idea that for the category. And it's never been presented to them before.
Do you know, like, if there was a charity food drive maybe that wasn't just specifically 24 hours?
No, they could tell us nothing. They could find nothing that had been attempted before. So following their guidelines, do your best shot.
Clarion's the trendsetter on this one.
Yes. Well, and we hope to do it year after year after year, because it's only going to get bigger and better now that there's more awareness to the public. Because I noticed on that Friday with the Farmers and Crafts Day, I noticed several families or people that would go by and they would see us and like, oh, what's going on, when they realized what was happening. It's like, oh, gee, I'm sorry. We had one lady said, where's the nearest grocery store? She was from out of town. So we told her how to get to one without too much trouble. It took her 20 minutes to go 5 blocks. But she came back with 2 bags of groceries.
Oh, wow.
Which was wonderful. She said, I'm not sure what here. I just spent, X amount of dollars, and here you go. And we did have people that gave us cash donations, too.
And is that counted in the Guinness part? Or did they just want non-perishable foods?
They just wanted the non-perishable foods. The monetary donations, we contacted local grocery stores, and then it was spent.
Oh, okay.
And the receipts were kept, and they'll go in with everything we send to Guinness, too.
And you were saying that this woman came by. Just thinking of what it's like down there, obviously, during the festival. And really, this was rather well known. People knew about this. Did you find a lot of people just stopping by and say, "Here, I had a can, and I just wanted to give it to you"?
Yes, we just asked people to bring 1 can, and very few people brought 1. Most brought several. A lot of them said, "Oh, I just went through my cupboards," and as long as it wasn't expired or damaged, where it couldn't be consumed or you wouldn't want to, then everything was totally acceptable.
So, do you have a total at all? Do you know that yet?
Well, yes, up on in the courthouse, on the reader board out in front of the courthouse that the chamber takes care of, there it says 38,540. Now, at the very last minute, which we tried to avoid, but at the very last minute, while we were assembling to get this picture taken, when it was over and so forth, people came up with a couple bags, and there was like 30 more items in there. So they were in hand. So that would make it 38,570.
Okay. So where did all this food go?
Back to Clarion County. Every item stayed in Clarion County. That was another amazing feat. It really was. Tuesday afternoon at the Bilo parking lot, we distributed the food with lots of help from volunteers. Abraxas was contacted, and they brought down 14 of their boys up there who were wonderful in helping us unload the food. And then because of the time-wise when we were sorting the food and putting it in the boxes, we didn't really have time or space to load the pallets with just one kind of food. So the pallets had to be broken down, and then the boxes had to be divided up again for types of food. And then once that was done, then we could start distributing. There were 11 agencies and ministeriums, churches, that came and collected the food.
And
the food was distributed to them. 11 in the county.
Wow.
And it did go out countywide.
And how long did that process take?
Well, not as long as you would think. Thankfully, we did have quite a bit of help, not only from Abraxas, but from other people in the town. It was scheduled from 1 to 5, and I got there between 12:30, quarter to 1, somewhere there, and people were waiting for the food. I had tried to warn them ahead of time that the food was not sorted to be distributed, that it would probably be 2 o'clock when they got it. And it was right about 2 o'clock when we first started loading. The first trucks went through. As a matter of fact, we didn't get all the food off of the trailer before we ran out of space. And we kind of had a corridor with the trucks lined up, the pickup trucks going down through there, and as you know, okay, give them so many of this and so many of that until they got through and the truck was full and somebody else went through. And then we told them, come back later, we'll probably have more. And we did. We started giving out 8 cases or boxes, mainly boxes of items, except for the peanut butter, of which Smucker's was wonderful, donating lots of peanut butter, and they got 15 each one. By the end of the day, or the time when we were giving it out, we were giving out 30 cases or boxes of vegetables. So it was unload, and then when the piles went down, then unload some more. So the first ones did come back, and they got more too. More of their share.
How was it decided what the share for each individual group was?
Well, we knew we had 11 that would be there. However, some of them didn't have enough storage space to take a full share of the food. There were some that only had 2 or 3, a couple vehicles there, and that was all they could do. So when they went through, we just gave them a little bit of everything, filled them up. And if you have more space, come back, we'll give you more.
Oh.
The largest bank in the area is out at the Mount Zion Baptist Church towards Reimersburg. And they're huge, and they do represent a lot of people each week. And everything that was left over, they brought a small dump truck, and they took everything else that was left over.
A lot of great stories from this event.
Absolutely.
One real quick final question.
Okay.
Is this returning next year?
Oh, absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
I think this is something the community really enjoys participating in.
Yes, well, Karen says it's a win-win situation, but it's a feel-good situation too.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to be back right after this.
Standing out from the crowd is easy when you stop in at Fashion Bug, located in the Clarion Mall. Whether you're looking for junior trendy, girls, or fashion for women, they have it all with many different styles. With our newly expanded shoe and accessory department, you're surely to find that special touch to enhance that new outfit. And if you have a fashion question, our experts are here to help. That's Fashion Bug, located in the Clarion Mall, just off Exit 9 of Interstate 80. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. Sunday from noon till 5.
Where have all the children gone? Long time passing.
Every day, 10 children are killed by gunfire. You can help stop the violence. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT. Not one more lost life. Not one more grieving family. Not one more.
Gone to graveyards one by one. Oh, when will we ever learn?
News travels fast. That's why you need the speed and accuracy of a news team that brings coverage closer to home. Every Tuesday and Wednesday night, join TV5 News for Clarion's only live local newscast on television at 8. Tune in for the latest in regional, state, and national news. Plus, with our newspaper exchange partner, the Clarion News, teaming up to bring coverage closer to home every Tuesday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Clarion's only live local newscast on television at 8 is here on TV5.
And we are back. We've just been sitting here telling stories during the break because I mean, this Foodstock 99 was such a great event. But that's all the time we have for today. We want to once again thank Sue Leonard for joining us, and we will see you next time on Feedback.